then you definitely shouldn't say that you're so hungry you could eat a horse, because that's something an Italian would actually do. Hi guys, my name's Connor, and I make videos about everything travel and languages. Today, we're going to be talking about what stuck out to me as the weirdest things Italians do. As an obligatory disclaimer, none of these things are meant to be taken offensively or as criticisms of Italy. They're simply the Italian habits that are most likely to get a second glance if they were to be done in America. Without further ado, let's get started. So one of the first weird things I noticed in Italy, of course, was the greetings. Italians use many of the same greetings as other Western countries, including handshakes and hugs. However, similar to France's la bise, Italy also has a prominent kissing culture. When meeting friends and family members, Italians give each other 2 or even 3 kisses on the cheek. You start on the person's left cheek, but don't actually make contact with your lips unless you're really close to the person. The most surprising thing about Italian kissing culture, especially in the South, is that even Italian men will kiss each other when greeting, which is kind of ironic given that Italy is traditionally known for its macho culture. Interestingly though, many countries that are even more patriarchal, like India and much of the Arab world, have similar customs of male affection. So in reality, you can say that America is the outlier. Another way in which Italy breaks with its macho stereotypes is in how long young Italians, especially young Italian men, tend to live with their parents. According to Eurostat, 67% of Italians from 18 to 34 and 50% of those older than 25 were living with their parents in 2018. This figure is nearly 20% higher than the European average, and furthermore, 73% of those living with their parents were men. Many of the reasons behind these statistics are of course economical, as Italy is one of the highest youth unemployment rates in Europe. There's a lack of affordable housing in major Italian cities, meaning the young Italians who are employed oftentimes cannot afford to rent their own apartment. Many of the young Italians who do end up in their own housing can only afford to do so by moving abroad. Societal factors also come into play, as Italian culture is very family-oriented and there's not a big social stigma surrounding living at the family home. Luigi Di Maio, who until recently was the head of Italy's largest political party, the Five Star Movement, only moved out of his family house 5 years before being elected. There is, however, a subsection of Italians who live at their home into their 40s and beyond. Italians call these mammoni, meaning mama's boys. Mammoni are overly dependent on their mothers, even after moving out or getting into a relationship, much to the disdain of their girlfriends. Now, if you haven't already seen my video, 10 things to know before visiting Italy, then you should definitely check it out to learn more about Italian culture and the things that people don't tell you before visiting Italy. But if you did, then you know that Italians can work weird hours, at least compared to the United States and most of Western Europe. Not only will most shops close for a few hours in the afternoon and for up to several weeks in August, but most Italians will take 1 or 2 hours off in the middle of the day to eat lunch. Furthermore, Italians receive a minimum of 20 days paid vacation time per year. Government jobs are often considered the most coveted jobs in Italy due to their high pay, 28 plus days of vacation time, and the fact that government employees are almost impossible to fire. Quo Vado, Italy's highest grossing film of all time starring Checco Zalone, satirizes this by telling the story of a man who fulfills his childhood dream to obtain a posto fisso fixed post contract in the Italian bureaucracy.
Clarissa, che vuoi fare da grande?
La veterinaria, lo scienziato.
E tu, Checco, che vuoi fare da grande?
Io voglio fare un posto fisso.
Now, since Italy is known as one of the world's fashion centers and is home to famous brands like Gucci and Versace, you'd expect Italian fashion to be a lot more prominent in Italy. And while Italian fashion brands, both luxury and non-luxury, are obviously very popular in Italy, I found it strange that it's basically just as common to find Italians wearing American-themed clothing, to the point where it's become a brand in and of itself. NASA clothing has become especially popular in recent years, especially among young people. However, pretty much every Italian owns at least one article of clothing with an American flag, sports team, or city name on it. The weirdest thing for me as someone born in Chicago is that there's some days in Italy where I see more people wearing Bulls merchandise than during the off-season back in Chicago. Another weird thing Italians do is eat breakfasts that are very light but also very sweet. In America, breakfast foods can generally be divided into 2 main categories, sweet and savory. For your savory breakfast options, you've got classics like eggs, bacon, sausage links, and hash browns. When we want a sweet breakfast, we'll make things like cereal, pancakes, muffins, and waffles, but nothing overtly unhealthy. unless you go to a diner that heaps syrup and chocolate chips on your plate, or you take the time to actually read the nutrition facts on the back of your Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Italians, on the other hand, will eat straight up dessert foods for breakfast. I'm talking about things like chocolate croissants, milk and cookies, and bread lathered in Nutella. However, breakfast in Italy is usually very light, at least compared to in America, which explains how Italians can still fit into their super tight suits. Now, if you still have extra room in your stomach after eating a light Italian breakfast with your friends, then you definitely shouldn't say that you're so hungry you could eat a horse, because that's something an Italian would actually do. I know that back in middle school, my class's horse girl thoroughly enjoyed learning about the horse-drawn chariots in ancient Rome. But she definitely would have been thrilled to hear that eating horses in Italy dates back at least that far. Nowadays, the average Italian eats 1 kilo of horse meat each year. Consumption is primarily concentrated in the southern region of Puglia, as well as the northern regions of Emilia-Romagna and Veneto, which is historically known for its horse breeding. All around Italy, you can find butcher shops specializing in horse meat. Common horse dishes include sfilacci di cavallo, tiny frings of horse meat, prosciutto di cavallo, horse ham, and straica, horse steak. Alright guys, if you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and tell me in the comments about the weirdest thing that you experienced abroad. If you want to stay updated about future videos involving travel and languages, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and click on the notification bell. Thanks for watching!